Hello. Okay, so very quickly, I'm just gonna get to a point of something. Um, I did make this some time ago because it was really on my heart to really say this. Um, Now you can take it. Any of you can take it as however you want. Okay, you can take this as however you want, but this is just from actual personal experience and I believe this is something, it's just set up on my heart to really tell you. And I think it could be, it's even a spiritual thing. It definitely is a spiritual thing. And it's more of just to try to help you, certain people, specifically who I'm talking to, are Christian parents, okay? Specifically. Um, just be careful, all right? So the thing I just want to advise, if you're a parent and you're Christian, now I know there's different types of Christians. I know there's people that, you know, they call themselves Christians, but they're not very strict. You have lukewarm Christian, you have very strict Christian. I know some of y'all are probably gonna be thinking you're attacking Christians and stuff. No, it's just this is just set up on my heart just to share, okay? If you're a Christian parent, be careful of how you try to teach your kids about being a Christian. What you consider to be Christian, what's considered righteous, what's considered good. It is absolutely fine to teach, absolutely teach left and right, bad and wrong, good and bad. It's definitely good to teach that because that's what this life is about, you know? Now, in my heart, I try to believe in God as much as I can. I try to. I always have some kind of belief in Jesus. Okay? But you can end up, if you're not careful, if you're a Christian parent, just don't seriously push religion into your kids. Like, don't call everything in this life all religion. Don't start comparing and talking everything of religion. Just don't. And the reason why I say that is because life is not religious. Life is real life. Life is hard. Life is stress. Life is different. Life is with experience. Life is, oh, I was headed this way, but then this happened. I had to turn around. Life is, I don't know, I may or may not get it, but then, somehow you get the call and you do get it. Life is filled with many mysteries that we don't know anything about. None of us have the answer to. That's also something else. Don't expect your kids to have the answers. Don't expect them to be perfect when they come out here. Okay? They're going to screw up on things that you told them not to screw up on. And the reason why is because no matter how much you've told your kids, no matter how much you've told them, they may still go into it because they don't know the experience. Now, some of them, I'm not talking about with everything, just only certain things, you know. But yeah, another thing, don't force your kids to go to church. Don't force your kids to read a chapter every single night in the Bible and force your kids to read it and then say, you have to go to church because that's the only way you can be saved. You better get your money because you need to start tithing and all this stuff. Really don't raise your kids like that. Now, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can still raise your kids like that, but this is just my advice from that kind of experience. Because every single time I listen to gospel music or I try to enjoy gospel music, that's what haunts me a lot. Because it was a whole lot of pressure. It was a whole lot of pushing it onto me. And I felt like I just wasn't free. And I had to obey. I had to obey, because if I rejected, if I tried to do anything outside, I would get beat up for it. I'm serious. So really, just be careful of how you raise your kids Christian, because they may not like you whenever they're older. They may not want to have anything to do with you whenever you're older. And not only that, but and I know by this a lot of people are gonna take it offensively, or some, but really, like, not saying you can't raise your kids. You can do whatever you want. I'm not here telling you what. I'm just kind of trying to just encourage to you what's best if you're gonna raise your kids Christian. Just, you know what I'm saying? You don't want them to grow up and then completely ignore and throw out God and throw out the church and throw out the Bible because of how strict you were and how you played God and how you said, God don't like that, God don't like this, God don't like that, God's not going to accept you because of this one little small thing. You know, you can't be that strict on people. And kids are people. Your kids are people. They may be your kid, but don't take advantage of that, because they also belong to God. They came from God. Not only that, but you made the decision to have your kids as well. So, and I'm sure you pray to God about something for that. So, and yeah, really, like, just be careful with pushing religion. Let your kids learn on their own. Let your kids be themselves. Okay? If they don't want to go to church, don't push them. If they don't want to read the Bible, don't make them. If they want to read the Bible and they want to learn, yeah, sure, be proud of them, but don't be so, like, you know, you can be proud of them however way you want to, but I don't know, just don't expect them to be perfect, you know. But yeah, this is just one little thing I just wanted to get off my chest. I just wanted to share it because I really do feel like it would be helpful. Like, it was just something on my heart, because this is something I've personally gone through and it's been bothering me lately, and I just feel like I just needed to say something about it. And I could write it down on a piece of paper, but it won't be towards nobody. So, yeah. Um but yeah, if you're Christian, just don't push too much of God onto your kids. Just don't. You can teach them, you can take them to church, you can do whatever you want, but just be aware that you can push too far if you do, with being too strict on it. Because I know with being a Christian, there is responsibilities, there is the law, there is, you know, there is the commandments of it, but that's not an easy path to just go down, you know. And not only that, but a lot of times, if you want your kid to go to Jesus, then, if you've had, like, bad experiences with family members and stuff pushing too much religion, you'd want to be with Jesus rather than them, and you would not even tell those people what all you've done with Jesus or what Jesus has done with you, because when you tell them, then they get too prideful of themselves and they be saying stuff like, "Oh, see, I taught you well. I did this for you and I did this." And it's like, "No, you didn't. You did absolutely nothing. You just did this and this and this to me," which is all bad things. And really, like, so, and I want you to know something. We're all hypocrites. Every single one of us, we are all hypocrites. And it doesn't matter how righteous you try to be. It doesn't matter. That's just human beings. I know there's people, they talk trash about hypocrites and stuff, about being a hypocrite and all this stuff. Every single one of us are hypocrites. Every single one of us, in some kind of small, big way, we are all hypocrites of one or more things. So I don't know why, you want to brag about it or talk about it or complain about it, because in some kind of way, I'm a hypocrite. I am. I'm a hypocrite. I don't agree with the freaking system, but I got one foot in it because I have to. Yeah, I talk trash about it. You know? Like, you know. But yeah, I just figured I would get this off my chest and just share with it. Let me just share you with it. I don't know. But yeah. Just if you're a Christian parent, don't push too much religion on your kids. Because if you really want them to be with God, you really want them to love God, you really want them to love you and everything, don't push or force it. Don't. Because that will damage them. You know, there's a difference between teaching and encouraging and raising versus abusing, pushing, and and you know, and forcing it, all that stuff. There's a difference. So yeah, um, I mean, heck, there's even a Bible verse, and I know many people take it only in one way. You know what I'm saying? But think about it in this kind of way. It's a Bible verse that says, "Train your kids in the way that they should go, so when they're older, they will not depart from it." And I know that's a Bible verse. I don't remember where it is, but what that means, if you don't want your kids to depart from God or depart from what you taught them, you have to teach them well. And yeah, like you can be very too harsh on them. You can be too strict on them. You can be too much on them. All right? And yeah, they will. Now, I'm not talking about one little moment where they're not, they're acting up and whatever. That's a small little moment. I'm talking about like um they're 15, they want to wear makeup. You're not going to let them wear makeup because it's not part of the Bible. It's not part of being Christian. Christians don't wear makeup. I want to dye my hair. No, you're not. God gave you that color hair. You're not dyeing your hair. Ever. Not even whenever you're grown. You're not allowed to dye your hair. I want to move out. No, you're not allowed to move out. Because God doesn't want you to. Because I said so and all this stuff. Why you got your hair up in a ponytail? That's not righteous. You don't need your hair up in a ponytail. You need to keep it down. That kind of stuff. Um, you know, why are you wearing the color black? You know black is of the devil. You know black is definitely of the devil. You need to put on a different color. I don't like that color. That's what I'm talking about. Is bullcrap like that. You need to go to church every single Sunday and Wednesday. Otherwise, God's not going to bless you. You're not going to get no blessings. You're not going to heaven and all this stuff. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Seriously. That's not cool. That's not funny. I understand you're a parent, but yo, don't do that. Don't do that. I just really want you to know all of us are hypocrites. All of us are sinners. But yeah, I'm more like speaking for younger people here. Okay? And please, if you're an older person, try to remember how you were when you were young. Don't sit here and act like, oh, I've never been young before. I've always been 30 years old. No, you've been young before. It's just I know that when you get older, you can just forget because that's you and you're growing more, you've learned more. But having to train someone else through that too, that's a lot of work. But that's the whole point of being a parent. So just I don't know. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but seriously, I don't care. I'm just getting it off my chest so somebody knows. So someone knows. So yeah. Not only that, but being a Christian, you're supposed to walk in Jesus' footsteps. That means you're not supposed to make a big deal out of little small things and then complain about it and then say how they're a failure and how they have no hope and all this stuff and they're going to hell. That's not Jesus. That's not Jesus. Jesus don't do that. What do you think Jesus does? He gives you second chances. He always gonna give you a second chance. You know why? Because he knows you more than you know yourself. Not that, but he knew you were gonna do it anyway. So what makes you think that he is so shocked and surprised that you did whatever it is that you just did? That's a sin. I just learned a long time ago that people are the problem. A lot of times it's people that are the problem. Even if it's your own friends, even if it's your own family, even if it's people you thought you could trust, people are always such a problem. No matter who you are. I don't care what you believe in, who you serve, or anything. You can still have that drama, have that argument, have those opinions, and it is annoying. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here, and yeah, you could subscribe if you want. I don't know. I don't really know, but yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.